tonight we've got a great... Okay, I don't know if we're on...
Monique, you are on the air. We had a technical issue on this end. And you were not on the air. It was playing music for several minutes.
Oh, okay, because I just went through it anyway because I wasn't sure. So start over?
You're on now.
Okay. Okay, we've had some technical issues, but good evening and welcome to Masterful Choices, where choice really, really does matter. I'm Monique Chapman, your host, and I converse with established and upcoming conscious leaders in the fields of human potential, intuition, spirituality, and metaphysics, providing empowering information for you to live a 5-star balanced life. When you were born, you came to Earth with everything you needed to make life a success. Together, let's discover your pathway to greater success. To find out more about me, upcoming show guests, the classes, consultations, energy work, and holistic healings that I provide, visit my website, MoniqueChapman.com. Now, I've been told by my clients that I keep it real while providing accurate information and profound deep healings as they face the lessons they agreed to learn in this particular lifetime. Remember to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and connect with me on LinkedIn. My opt-in newsletter, Healing News, is available through my website, MoniqueChapman.com, or you can join from my Facebook page. In the first hour, my personal astrologer and our resident astrologer, Larry Merton, is back with us. And in the second hour, you have me. And I'm going to be taking your questions, so, get ready with those intuitive questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the drought that's going on, hopefully open some eyes around that. And I'm going to talk about relationships. So if you have a relationship issue, and who doesn't, some type of relationship issue, give me a call. And the number to call in this hour and next hour is choices 602-666-6027. We've got 602-666-6027 or 602-412-4949. Again, that's 602-412-4949. You can always watch me on Achieve TV. Larry and I should be on, so hello. And do send me a message in the Achieve chat room, or you can send an in-quick message, okay? Now, my guest this hour, Larry Merton, has been with me for several years, and we always talk about what's going on in the world today, what's going on in, life in general, and he gives some really accurate pointed information about where we're at and where we're going. Larry's always very generous with supplying you a copy of your birth chart. If you do not have it, all you have to do is go to his website, and that's larrymartin.biz, larrymartin.biz, and send him an email, request your birth chart, and he will send it on to you. If you have an idea of what your birth chart looks like and a little bit of an idea of what it means. That's why you can call them for a consultation after you get the birth chart. But if you have an idea of what it looks like and what it means, it truly makes a difference. So that when you're standing on Earth and you're looking up at the vast heavens and you see the stars and the constellations and all that, you can identify with parts of you way up there in the universe. So to make that connection closer, give Larry an email, and that is going to his website. That's larrymartin.biz, and send him an email. So, hello, Larry.
Hi, Monique. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm trying to find us on Achieve TV. I see me, but I don't see you. But, I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. I'm just glad that it's working, and we have the opportunity to connect with our listeners. So, yay!
Yay! Yeah, I think Bill's working.
He's working hard, He's working hard. And folks, send Bill some energy. He sounds kind of tired to me. He's always a trooper. He's always there and moving forward for us. So let's send him some positive energy and some refreshment energy today. Take all of his stress away. So, Larry, what is going on with you that you'd like to share?
Well, we just wrapped up 8 weeks of relationship classes, which have been amazingly insightful. The whole idea is by taking, 2 astrology charts of 2 different people and seeing just how compatible they are. So people can actually read about that on Facebook by just going to Astrology News by Larry Martin and just click on like. You can read all about that and Robin Williams, as well as ask for a free copy of my newsletter for this month. So that's what's been going on in the immediate now. But this is also the beginning of my annual travels across the country, where I'll be everywhere from Los Angeles to San Diego to Columbus, Ohio. I think Cincinnati's in there somewhere. And a couple other cities will be added over the next 6 weeks. So as always, I'm always looking forward to going back to the Midwest, watch the trees turn color, and get back here to beautiful Arizona before the snow hits.
Yes, but the wonderful changes in seasons I just absolutely love. I love looking at the snow like a day or two because I'm a native New Yorker, so I'm, upstate New York, so I'm well versed with snow. But I'll look at it for a day or two now and then. You're like, no, had enough. Don't want to play in it. Don't want to live in it. Just want to escape it.
That's right. So I'll be I think I'll be in Columbus, Ohio, the last weekend of October at the Columbus Convention Center. And we'll be talking about everything from timing to dwarf planets to the law of attraction, just all kinds of stuff, all weekend long.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be. It always is. Every year it's a little bit different. This is actually the first year I'll be at the new convention center, or at least it's a new convention center to me because we had always been at the Veterans Memorial for the last 20 years, and they've closed that building down, and now we're kind of expanding and growing and getting into bigger places and things. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think Southwest Airlines now is going to put my name on every plane simply because I went ahead and just bought stock in it, figuring I'm going to be flying on it for the next couple of months. So it's always a lot of fun. Great people to work with. And just like any other kind of travels you go through every year, you always get to see people that you only get to see once a year. So I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends in Ohio and Indiana and Michigan. Be a lot of fun. Oh, Monique, I think I lost you. Or at least I don't hear you right at the moment. So I'll just kind of send
how's this?
Yes, that works.
Okay, and that button actually pressed itself all by itself. So I've got some company in the room with me besides the two dogs.
Oh, good. I just had to pick up my big bean can with my string on the end of it.
Oh, okay. What I was saying about your travels, though, is for folks to give you a call, if they know that you're going to be in the area and set up an appointment with you, because I know that you're so gracious that you would accommodate them.
I do, and I also offer pretty sizable discounts. I'll be offering 1-hour sessions for just $150. And like I said, it'll be available in Southern California, all throughout Ohio, especially Cincinnati and Columbus. And I believe I also have Indianapolis on the list. So if you're from the Midwest, send me an email through larrymartin.biz. Let me know you'd like me to stop in your town and contact me by email.
Okay. So, Larry, what is going on in the heavens right now?
Oh, well, there's always something going on. And right now, I'm trying to be as patient as possible, waiting for Mars to change zodiac signs. As anyone who's been listening to the show through the beginning of the year, it's spent almost the entire year in the zodiac sign of Libra. So everybody from Capricorn to Cancer to Libras themselves, as well as Aries, have gone through a lot of transformations earlier this year and really felt as though not much was really under control. It was all like just a rushing into a headwind of trying to make things work. And once Mars moved out of Libra, which happened back in June, it moved into Scorpio, where things got a little bit more dramatic, a little more intense for most of the other signs. But for the most part, it allowed a lot of us the opportunity to make bigger changes toward the positive and to try to rest a little easier and not push so hard, although the temptation was simply too much for a lot of people, I think. So basically, we've got, looks like about 5 more days before Mars will leave Scorpio and move into the sign of Sagittarius. Oh, yeah. I'm yay. All over the place. Because, and again, I have nothing against Scorpio. I have a lot of friends that are Scorpios. And it's just extremely intense. Mars rules when it's in Scorpio. So it just really adds a lot of extremism, people pushing the envelope, trying to make things happen, maybe even before their time. And once it moves into Sagittarius, that effort toward extremism will really start to calm down. And Sagittarius is more about adventures, traveling, since I've already planned most of my trips, as well as exploration and learning. So it's a great time for education, not just if you want to go back to school, but if you want to take classes on self-development, self-awareness, astrology. The next 5 months will be really key for getting in some new ideas and getting into some new philosophies about where you want to go with your life.
Okay. Now, what do you say to the person who says, well, Larry, I just don't have the money?
Yeah. Well, what I try to do just personally for myself and for everybody else is I make appearances in different cities and towns and do what I call, multiple chart sessions. What that does is it allows me to make the same amount of money that I always do, but it affords a larger group of people a much, much lower price. For example, at the Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, I'll be offering 15-minute sessions for only $35.
That's a great price.
It really is. $35, and you get a copy of your chart, and usually if we're looking at mapping or anything like that, I can send you an email about it. But at least you'll get an update. You'll be able to see what your chart looks like. You'll learn a little bit about it and see what's coming up for you in 2015. And then I'll be doing the same kind of what I call mini chart sessions at the DoubleTree Hotel in Tucson. And that date is already set for October the 5th. And I'll be there at the DoubleTree on Alvernon, which is downtown Tucson. And I'll be there from 9 until 4. But anybody who is going to be in the Midwest at the Columbus Convention Center, I'll be there 2 days. So I'll be starting from early Saturday morning at 9 and working all the way till Sunday evening at 6. And so that's literally reading, 4 or 5 people per hour and over everybody's chart. And again, it's just $35. So it's a much more affordable way to go.
Yeah. And, folks, if you're in the area and you could take advantage of that, please do. When I did Expose, I would, do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing. And you sit down Friday and you literally don't get up until, Sunday night. And then you got to pack up and go home. But this is how people make living, number one. So please, if you want to support Larry, please do that. But number two, as he said, you get a very reduced price and you get a taste of his personality, a taste of his readings, and you have the opportunity to assess when you want to have that next session with him, which I think is very beneficial. So if you're in that area, please, check him out. And if you don't know if he's going to be in the area or whatever, I'm quite sure if you get enough people together and you guys can work out logistics, Larry would come and see you in your group, okay? Absolutely. So please keep...
Yes. Oh, yes, I was just agreeing. Absolutely.
Okay. So, I know in your newsletter you talked a little bit about Robin Williams. I mean, everybody has had their opinions. And I'm a member of this... I guess it's a psychic group of other psychics, and Jeff, he runs it. And I was amazed at the number of psychics that were really hard on Robin for what he did. When I looked, when I heard about the news, it felt like a punch in the gut. I mean, it was like, oh my goodness, my brother just died, and I don't have a brother. But that's the feeling that I had. But then, I took another deep breath and these were my exact words. I said, well, Robin said he had enough and he checked out. And it wasn't any judgment on it or anything else. It was just that he had enough. So what are your thoughts around and the astrology around what happened with Robin?
Well, I think the astrology really bears out that he was on several types of medication. One was that he had just returned back from a rehab stint because he was worried he was going to lose his sobriety. So, through counseling and therapy, he may have been on medication from that. And right afterwards, we find out from his wife that he was taking Parkinson's disease medication. And even in the initial stage, there are a lot of side effects to that kind of medication, mostly in the area of hallucinations. But it also includes depression. and perhaps even manic mood swings. Now, we don't have the toxicology report yet, or at least I haven't seen it. So we don't really know if those drugs were in his system or not. But if they were, it would have had a sizable impact on the depression he'd been battling for years, maybe even decades. And so I kind of look at it as similar to what you just said, a feeling as though he had had enough. He had been battling this forever, and even close friends said that if you were in a room alone with him, it was not always a cheerful thing. And it really took a third person or a fourth person to enter the room, and then he would just, he'd be on. And that's when, you would see the comedian that everybody knows and loves.
Yeah. I think sometimes that we forget that people that are sharing their lives with us in a very public manner are human too, and that they have their issues. And it doesn't matter what we perceive to be the amount of money in their pocket or the amount of success that they have. I mean, they have their own lessons to work through.
Yeah, and it's really not about how much money you make or how much money you have or how famous you are. Depression is a disease, and it's a type of brain disease. And then when you throw in the idea of him learning that he has Parkinson's disease and all the things that, he would have to fight in battle, it may have been he decided he didn't have the strength to do that.
Or just didn't want to do it, next time around.
I mean, we're not talking about just having a virus. We're talking about a really debilitating disease that lasts for years. And, it's very hard to even recognize who you are by the time the disease runs its course. So, I very quickly, as soon as I heard it, I was shocked. But no, absolutely no judgment on my part. And I do try to struggle with all my clients, even when they tell me a story or they tell me of a hardship. I try my best never to look at anything as either good or bad. Because, who am I, to know, what the universe really has in store or how people are supposed to play things out. This is his movie. It's his life. It's his issue. And I, wish him the best. He brought me years of laughter, so much so that, I went ahead and posted his story of how golf was invented on my Facebook page. And it got a lot of rave reviews because it really is ridiculously funny.
Well, and folks, check that out.
Yeah, he was always able to just come up with the most bizarre point of view and really make a joke of it. And his lightning fast responses to things would always keep people guessing as to what was coming next. So that was just as much fun. It's not just the laughter. It's just you really didn't know what he was going to say next.
Well, not only that, if he had been here and gone through with the Parkinson's and as it progressed, he would have turned into a Muhammad Ali. And I love Muhammad Ali, okay? But Muhammad Ali was vibrant and he was sassy and he would get in your face and he really talked about what he believed in, and now he can't say a word. And can you imagine seeing Robin like that? It would just be too heartbreaking. So, whatever he did is between him and Source. What happens next, and I wish him well on his journey. I truly do. Yeah.
Well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, folks, we are taking your calls. I'm surprised that you haven't called in yet. The number is 602-412-4949, 602-666. I gotta look that one up. 602-666-6027. And you can always call toll free 888-235-7374. Send an InQuick, or you can hit me up in the chat room. We do have an InQuick from Kimmy in Denver. So, Larry, let's talk about Kimmy for a moment. I'm trying to see. She was born May 31st, 1985. In Denver, so I'm assuming that's Colorado. She says the time was early a.m. before 7. That's all she has.
Okay.
Okay, and she says, would like to know if Larry thinks this is a good month to move. Want to move to L.A. Well, Kimmy, I don't blame you for wanting to get out of that Denver weather. It's quite interesting.
Absolutely it is. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm just trying to pick an hour. As far as relocation astrology, I really do need the exact birth time in order to calculate whether or not that's an excellent move for her. But as far as just overall timing, she's just a little bit early. And again, having her exact birth time would give me the answer I need, because it may be Leo and it may be Virgo on the area of residence for her chart. And if she's born, let's say, at 5 a.m., then now is the time for her to move. And especially anytime between now and the end of January. And, of course, that's a difficult time to be moving through Colorado then. But as long as she's able to make her escape before the snows hit, which, if I remember right, Denver has much heavier snows actually in the springtime, at least the eastern part of the state. So if she can get out of there as soon as possible, that would be ideal. It looks as though she has, she's not just a Gemini, she has the moon in the sign of Scorpio. And it's very, very close to Pluto. So there's a lot of intensity from her childhood. There's a lot of intensity around the need for controlling things and really planning things out thoroughly. So she does have a great need to cross her T's and dot her I's, make sure everything is in place, and then come up with a backup plan, to really make a relocation or to really move. You really have to plan as far in advance as possible. It's not as simple as just packing up your things and going. There's energies to consider. There's karma to consider. There's what your past deeds were in the area that you're in. And then there's the direct comparison, not just between where you're living, but where you were born and then where you're moving to. And as we do a relocation, birth time becomes really critical because that way we can see which planetary ley lines go in the direction you're wanting to travel. So again, I can kind of sit and kind of guesstimate, but it'd be much easier if I knew her birth time. But the bottom line is she needs to control things, which means she needs to be informed and she needs to get as much information as possible. Because, Geminis can second guess themselves all the way to the end of time. So getting information reduces that probability.
Okay. Well, Kimmy, if you would like to give us a call, and folks, I gave you some numbers that were incorrect, that are not active. The active number is 602-666-6027. Again, that number is 602-666-6027. And Kim, if you'd like, give us a jingle and we could clear some of that up for you and give you some pointed information as to whether or not this is the best thing for you.
Right.
Okay, so Larry, aren't you giving a course? It's interesting she asked that question because aren't you giving a course on astrocartography?
Astrocartography. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It doesn't start till November, so there's plenty of time, to get registered and to learn more about it. But so many people have asked me about relocation over the last 2 years. I finally started hearing it from my students that were all kind of like, well, how do you read these crazy charts and how do you read these maps? And whether it's a map of India or a map of the United States, the way that I do it is very different from the way some people do it. Some people just read the astrocartography, which was really developed by Jim Lewis back in the 1970s, of literally asking the question, how far do I have to move east or west in order to rotate my chart to bring greater emphasis to the planets I like? And so, for example, I was born in Ohio, so I was born with Venus in the 6th house, which is a relatively weak place. So I worked and worked and worked and loved my work, but I never got any kind of progress. I never really made any money, always got paid less than what the work was worth. And so I thought, okay, I've got to move west. Well, the Jim Lewis technique shows you how far you have to move west in order to move a planet into a more prominent position. So for me, I wanted to move Venus from the 6th house of work and move it into the 7th house of public and relationships. So I got my eyebrows full of relationship education, firsthand news. I'd already talked to you about it off the air.
Yeah.
But then also, too, it really enhanced business because it's also the house of the public. So I was able to triple business in the first 2 years of moving to Arizona, and I've just recently tripled it again in addition to expanding into other areas. So it's been an absolute rocket ride of just relocating to the correct place. Now, what I add in addition to astrocartography is what's called local space theory. This was developed by Michael Earlywine out of Michigan many, many years ago. And his idea was to take your birthplace and then take the shadows of the planets on your chart and stretch them across the globe. This means you could then pinpoint local areas down to the actual square mile and move north or south in addition to east and west. So instead of just saying you have to move west or you have to move east, with Michael's local space technique, you can really pinpoint it down to the very square mile. But it's extremely time sensitive. So even if your birth time is off just a couple of minutes, we would have to try to correct it in order to find out where those lines actually fall. Because the Earth is spinning a lot faster than we realize, and just a couple of minutes can make a difference of several miles.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because we talk about needing the correct birth time. And I remember when my nephew was born, he was premature, and I was in the room, and he kind of shot out my sister. He was only like 1 pound, 8 ounces. And, everybody's like, oh my God, is he like breathing? And you heard this faint little cry. And when he was born, I looked up at the clock and it said a minute to midnight. And by the time, they figured out that he was going to live for a while anyway, they asked my sister, well, do you want his birthday to be, I'm going to give a false date, but May 3rd or 4th? Because, they figured it was right midnight. Now, that would make a huge difference for him, wouldn't it? And what you're saying, if he was really born at 11:59 and they told him or put on his birth certificate that he was born at 12:05?
Well, it would. It really would. And what a lot of people in the Far East do is they go by the first breath. Whenever that first breath was taken, that's the time.
Oh, okay.
So in this instance, I would say the child was born at 11:59 of that previous day, the earlier day.
Okay. Yeah, it's just always interesting how, a few minutes could make such a big change in the degrees. So, Kimmy, if you want, give us a call, or anybody else. That number is 602-666-6027. Again, 602-666-6027. Interesting, because that's the number I usually give out. And for whatever reason today, I saw some additional numbers, and I said, let me share those. And you're like, no. Stick with what you know. My
absolutely. I also teach in that class that even if you don't know your birth time, you can still read your birth chart. It's just that the relocation mapping it gets a little messed up. So if you don't know your birth time, don't give up. I also do what's called rectification. In other words, if you know about 10 life events and you know when they happened, like a marriage or a divorce or a job you got or a move you made or a vacation you took, we can then calculate what time you must have been born for those events to have happened when they did.
Oh,
and that's kind of fun. I got a lot of computer software that does that.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you do that, and there was something else in your newsletter that I looked at, and I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, well, a couple of things. Number one, in your newsletter, you talk about the stock market going up. It's went over 17,000. But what I've noticed that the rich keep getting richer, so that 1% keeps gaining more. But I don't see it filtering down in my neighborhood, in my city, from my clients, my bank account. I don't see it filtering down the way the stock market is escalating.
Yeah, you won't. In fact, that's actually what I've come to the conclusion of. That's the difference between wealthy people and everybody else. Is that there's not enough hours in the week for you to work. And there's not enough dollars per hour that you can make to become wealthy. So what you have to do is something you may have seen from like Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, and that is you have to develop passive income. So I've been able to increase my income this year dramatically, almost 35%, by just investing in the stock market. And you can open up an account for as little as $1. So it's not like the old days where you had to have tens of thousands of dollars to have a stock market account. You just need $1. And if you invest in different corporations, you won't be making the 1% in your savings account that you get from the bank. You'll be making at least 4%, 7%, maybe even greater than 10%, depending on the business. For example, I invested in Southwest Airlines. And I tell my clients, I'm a big fan of Southwest Airlines. I love the way that the business is run. I love the people there. I've always been treated fabulously well, and I don't have to pay for my bags. That's the best.
I chuckle only because I can give you horror stories about Southwest.
I can imagine. But I also like the idea that I can change my plans and I don't have to, pay extra for a ticket. So I invested, actually I had a lot of my clients invest at $9, and this was only 2 years ago. And when it got up to $17, I sold it, and then I rebought it again at $17. And it went up to $23, and I sold it, and I bought it again at $23. And today I think we're right about $33. So literally I've made a couple of $1,000 just off one stock. And I only started with, let me see if I do my calculations real quick. I only started with $270.
Okay.
That's all I started with. So what you're doing when you're investing in the stock market, and again, the techniques I use only work if the stock market's going up. If it goes down, then I just take the day off. But as it goes up, I'm making money, but I don't have to work hours for it. So I can stick with my regular job. I don't have to alter that at all. Today's software, you can make trades automatically before or after you come home from work. And you literally just set it and forget it. And you can even now, I think they have mobile apps for your smartphone. And you can kind of, if you don't let the boss catch you, you can kind of stick your phone on your desk and just go ahead and make your trades right there. So, it's one of those things where it's worthy of your time to educate yourself of it. So many people are so afraid of the stock market, they refuse to invest in it. But I just think you get kind of left behind. And it isn't about being afraid of the stock market, it's about being educated. Because what you do, what I learned was to put a stop on any kind of loss, so that the very second you lose 10%, then you're automatically out of that stock. In other words, you don't let it crash. So you have to learn how to work the software, you have to learn how to place orders, and you have to learn to put safety stops so that you don't lose everything you've got.
Okay. Well, folks, there you go. So, call Larry for some tips if you want. Of course, that would be a consultation. But he's very good at pinpointing what stocks are going to do what. And again, this is based on astrology. So, why not play? A dollar doesn't break most of us, although some days a dollar will break you. I can, no, seriously, that's the way it is with some folks, and that's okay. They're growing and gaining more. But, this would be another way to expand yourself and have that passive income, because these days you truly need 3-4 streams of income coming in to make the one income that, say, you were used to 20 years ago. It's crazy, but that's the way it is.
It is and while the market goes up, there's certainly money to be made, and it's not about being afraid or being shy. It's about getting educated, and I'd be more than happy to send an email letting people know the books that I bought to study and read up on. And I absolutely use astrology for all the corporate charts and their birthdays, so to speak. And I've got the exact birth time because I actually paid a friend of mine to help me get the research that's required. So it's very exciting. It's actually a lot of fun, and you have to educate yourself. You can't do it ignorantly.
No, you have to educate. Well, I'd love for you to share those books. So if you send me an email, I'll make it available to everybody that's listening, and, we'll go from there. And, it's interesting. I don't want to just blanketly put it out on the air. I want people to kind of do something to ask for it, because that way, they're serious, and you're just not putting information out there for it just to float away,
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'll give away a copy of my newsletter, and I'll mention the stocks that my clients and I have been successful with. But to look into the future, what I'm really doing is doing like a relationship chart or a compatibility chart between you and the corporation you want to invest in. So it's quite detailed.
Yeah. Okay, so folks, move forward, and we'll have that information for you. Contact myself or Larry, and we'll get that to you. Now, Larry, you're doing something which, when I read the newsletter, kind of shocked me, actually, and that was solar fire. So tell us about solar fire and what you're doing with solar fire.
Oh, well, actually, I'm doing all kinds of fun things with it. The stock market is just one thing. But Solar Fire basically is the software that I use to calculate charts right here on the air. So like when someone calls in, they give a birthday, what I do then is I pull up the software that allows me to instantly look at where the planets were at any moment in time. So what I'm actually doing now is I'm selling the very software that I use for all my chart calculations. And I had done this about 10 years ago, and mostly students buy it, but now I'm offering it to everyone. And it's normally, I think, $365, so it is expensive for some people. But I am offering it at a discounted rate, and I believe it is $326. I'll double check my numbers. But Either way, anyone listening, I will offer them the 326 price. I think I'm looking at a paper here that says the price just went up from that 326. But if they contact me within the next 24 hours, I'll more than be happy to honor that lower price.
Okay, so folks, there you go, and you can do your own astrology and then come to Larry and take a class or two so that you can have more detail, but you have information that you can use. And that's the point of, in my estimation anyway, of having the astrology, so that you have information at your fingertips. It's not a plan etched in stone, if you will, but it kind of gives you the big picture, and then you get to fill in or color in all the details, okay? And it gives you directions to go within, and you can choose to follow or not follow, because this is Earth School and we have free will. But the astrology would definitely help you. Now, Larry, we've got go ahead.
Oh, I'm just agreeing with you. Absolutely.
Okay, we have Michelle who wrote it, and she did it in the chat room, so yay! So here, kudos to Michelle. Let me find it. Yay! Okay, and by the way, Kimmy, I think, was a first-time listener, so thank you, Kim, for, listening in. Please listen in some more. So we've got Michelle. She's born in Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Date of birth is 9/21/64.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for a financial reading.
Okay. Is there a birth time on there?
She doesn't know the exact time. She says early afternoon, but she doesn't know the exact time. So she's looking for financial, and also where can you invest for online for under $100?
Well, actually, anywhere. I recently just sold a stock this morning that I purchased for 97 cents. And I bought 300 shares of it and sold it for $1.16. So not a great, huge victory, but I did a touchdown.
But it's a victory.
It's like football.
Yeah, it's a victory.
So, yeah, there's a lot of very valuable stocks that are under $1. So it's just a matter of educating yourself about the different ones. The one I was selling had to do with what's called ginger beer. It's a non-alcoholic drink that's sold in a lot of private, pubs and bars and restaurants. But I've always been a fan of ginger ale, but I've always thought ginger ale tastes too much like corn syrup. So what this company does is creating a thing called ginger beer, which is non-alcoholic, but it has the most amazing flavor. It tastes identical to real ginger like you'd have at a sushi restaurant. So, being able to make money and at the same time watch this small company grow and deliver a fine product, I think is just the American dream. But to look at Michelle's chart, I'd have to find out what her interests were directly as far as different types of stocks or different things to invest in.
Okay, well, she just furthermore said that everything that she looked at requires $1,000. So I think she's active and ready to go. It's just a matter of her finding something within her range.
Well, I've used a couple of different brokers. One was Ameritrade, and I started my account with a lot less than $1,000. What they are specifying is that if you're going to try to sell or trade options, or if you're going to short a stock, then you have to have almost $20,000 invested to cover potential extreme losses. Nothing I do involves options. Nothing I do involves shorting a stock. I look at that as being kind of a negative, and I really try to look at companies that are in the positive or in a growing, progressive mode. When you short a stock, what you're doing is you're kind of predicting that the company is going to go under.
Yeah.
So since there's no limit to how much money you could lose, the broker is going to want you to, have a sizable deposit against losses. But if you're not doing those things, then you can just have as small an account as you want. And the other thing about Ameritrade that I like, you can go to thinkorswim.com and you can open up a free account and they'll give you $100,000 worth of play money. And you can teach yourself the stock or the software. You can attend free classes. They'll even teach you how to do different trades, and there's no cost. They give it to you free for like 2 months, Then after that, they ask you to open up an account with real money. But you can still continue after that using play money. And I think I made $37,000 just using play money. So I thought, geez, if I could do that with, fake money, maybe I can do something like that with real money. Now, looking at Michelle's chart for finances, she's getting her act together.
She said another quick. She thinks she was born around 2:30.
Oh, good. I was guessing 2 o'clock, so we're close enough.
Okay.
She has a number of financial planets, especially Venus and Mars in the sign of Leo, which means she's getting her proverbial act together now. And let's see, Venus is the planet of money. It's at 14 degrees, so Jupiter's only 2 degrees away. So really, over the next 4 weeks, learning how to play around with $100,000 would be really cool. But her big year is next year when Jupiter moves into Virgo, because she is a Virgo and she has 4 planets in Virgo. So it's kind of like a pinball machine where it'll be money, 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 money. And she'll need to put herself in a position to where she can maximize that. I absolutely think the stock market would be just one example of where she could maximize her opportunities.
Well, Michelle, she also said, let's see, what I meant was trading companies. I've looked at all of them on a deposit. So you mentioned Ameritrade, so that would be one company where she wouldn't have to necessarily have a deposit, right?
Right. I think I opened up my account with just $1,000 or maybe $900, something like that. And the Thinkorswim, I was able to start for free, and I never deposited a penny.
Okay.
So, again, it's free education out there, really.
Yeah, and folks, that's what we need, education. So once you're educated on something, you no longer fear it. And once you no longer fear it, you're like, oh, I can do this. And then you just move ahead with confidence. I knew this girl once, she's a woman, and she would do day trading. And she would just sit there all day. She had the means to do it as far as not having to go to work. And she'd sit there and day trade. And she'd make no income each year as far as going out to a job. But she'd bring in $100, $150 a year doing day trading. So if you understand it, it is something that would pay off. But I caution you to please take the time to understand it, to learn it, so that you don't lose your shirt.
Yeah, I always tell everybody the infamous disclaimer, that all stocks are at risk. And, however you learn to trade, you have to live with your decisions. The other thing, though, that some people do, including a couple of my friends and clients, is they trade with their IRA. That way, when they do make money, they're not really taxed on it because it won't be withdrawing the money until after age 65. So you can do a number of different things with it and have a number of different types of account. It's always best to contact the broker directly, though, not just take their word for it on the website. A lot of those stipulations or deposits are required if you're trying to be eligible for a special offer, like for them to give you a $50 Amazon gift card or give you different types of gifts. In order for them to be able to afford that, you have to have a sizable deposit. But I didn't get any gifts. I didn't get a free toaster. I didn't get any, no bonuses. I did the Thinkorswim thing for 60 days, and then I put real money in.
Okay, so there you go, folks. Think.com, swim.com, Ameritrade.
Yeah, thinkorswim.com.
Oh, it's all one, Think or Swim.
All one word.
Okay.
One word.
Okay. Let me change that.
Yeah, www.thinkorswim.
Okay, got it. And of course, Larry said that he'll send the names of the books that he used. So, you can either contact him or myself and you have information. And what an opportunity to learn. In fact, I'll talk about that more in the second hour because fall is going to be here pretty soon. So, Larry, we've got a few minutes left. What is it that you want to share with the audience about the fall season astrologically?
Well, again, we're enjoying Jupiter in a fire sign of Leo. And right at the end of autumn, Saturn will change signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius, just like Mars is going to be doing now. And what that will do is, for the first time in many years, puts both Jupiter, the planet of growth and opportunity, and Saturn, the planet of regulation and groundedness, puts them both in fire at the same time. So we'll be seeing a lot of Leos and a lot of Aries and a lot of Sagittarians whoop it up and do touchdown dances in the end zone and spike the football and have an absolute blast. while everybody else is going to wonder, geez, is the rest of the world leaving us behind? Because, the United States has a lot of its money planets in fire signs. And, you yourself, having the sun sign of Cancer means, you've got Leo in your solar house of money. So you're going to be seeing some, and again, you could say, wow, it's about time, because it really has. It's been several years.
Yeah.
Several years. It has. It has been years since a lot of us have been able to do that touchdown dance. So once December gets here, I believe it's the 14th, when Saturn moves into fire along with Jupiter, it'll give us the groundedness and give us a new ability to forge a new foundation with which we're going to be working our finances. So whether it's starting a stock market account where you're going to let your money grow at a faster rate than 1%, or whatever you decide to do to really create passive income for yourself, we're all going to benefit. Now, I do think, and I do caution and plan to be writing this at the end of the year in my newsletter, there is a good chance, if not a great chance, that a stock market bubble will begin to form around that time. And it'll allow us to make a ridiculous amount of money between now and the end of March 2015. But after that, we will go through a very normal cycle where it'll begin to correct itself. And that's normal. It's not a catastrophe. It's not the apocalypse. It's just a normal way of checks and balances and evening things out. So you really do have to educate yourself, look at the planetary cycles, figure out where you want to position yourself. Because on the weather front, I think we're in for another really cold winter everywhere except for Arizona and Southern California. So I'm waiting for the other, the other 250 million Americans to all flock to Arizona. I hope they don't. Because I'm going to be out at the swimming pool on December 20th and sipping actually, I think one of your favorite drinks out at the poolside, and you're more than welcome to come on down.
Okay. So we'll have a Grey Goose Cosmo. Yes, we will.
and bring your sunblock and bring some sunglasses and a beach towel, and we are going to have a whale of a time.
Okay, we can do that, and I'll get even darker than I am. It's amazing how much I've tanned this year, but that's another whole story within itself.
Yeah. And we'll watch news reports straight from Chicago.
Okay.
Or not.
Notice I just said, okay. Well, let me ask you a question. I heard on the...
I lived through it for decades, so I feel I've graduated.
Yes.
I have the right to make fun of all that stuff because I lived through it and shoveled driveways for years, and I just decided I got tired of it, that's all.
I hear you. And I lost my train of thought because I was going to ask you something, but it came and went, so I guess it wasn't really that important. Or I'm getting just that old.
Oh, was it about winter or?
No, I don't think so. It seriously, it came in, I didn't write it down, so it came in, great idea, went out, and if it's, really fantastic, it'll come again. And for those of you watching me on Achieve TV, you will see that I'm sweating because the sun has now moved to my face. Yeah, so much fun. Okay, so the weather. This is what I was going to ask you about. You read on online and see on the news about.
Oh, I lost you there, Monique. In the news about something?
This isn't my fault this time.
There you are. I hear you now.
Okay. Do you, in the news, flooding in Tucson, have you experienced flooding?
Just the area washes have become full. In other words, there's a very elaborate labyrinth of drainage ditches and washes specifically designed for emergencies. So, no, I didn't get to experience any of the actual flooding other than the washes did their job, and they honestly saved lives. Most of the major flooding was in between Phoenix and Tucson, where there is no elaborate drainage system. A lot of people forget the Sonoran Desert doesn't have topsoil. So when it rains, it doesn't go anywhere other than to the lowest point, wherever that happens to be. So it's a dangerous situation, but usually only for an hour or two. And as long as you're on high ground or you're aware of where not to be, you're safe.
Okay. Well, folks, stay safe and stay with me for this next hour coming up because we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's happening in the world. And one of the things is the drought. Okay. And, some of us have no water. In other places, there's so much water that they want to just give it away. But, Larry, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, for
Absolutely.
your time and your talent. And we'll be in contact soon. Okay.
Thank you so much, Monique. Take care.
Okay. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And for the audience, don't touch that mouse. Stay with me in about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about all kinds of great things and take your intuitive questions. So be prepared and give me a call at 602-666-6027. Again, that number is 602-666-6027 as we continue to make masterful choices.
AchieveRadio.com. Do you ever feel stuck, like you can't move forward? Or does it feel like your circumstances are so different that no one can understand or help you? Do you need guidance to achieve your financial, romantic, career, or health aspirations? Call me. I can help. I am Monique Chapman, and for over 30 years, I have assisted thousands of clients in gaining clarity and achieving their goals. Are you overwhelmed and looking for relief? Do you yearn to gain or reestablish your deep spiritual connection? Call me at 888-240-6057 and set the appointment that will change the course of your life to the positive. With so much going on today, everyone needs a resource they can count on to guide them through tough times. I am your resource. Call me now at 888-240-6057 and let's get started. Why suffer in silence when you can have the relief you are desperately seeking? Love yourself enough to make an investment in yourself and call me today at 888-240-6057.
divine name is a universal sound that when intoned has the ability to bring harmony and healing to ourselves and the planet. Discover the power of this lost sound through the new book, The Divine Name by Healing Sounds pioneer Jonathan Goldman. With a foreword by Greg Braden and a free instructional CD, this groundbreaking book can take us to a new level of evolution. Go to www.thedivinename.com and discover the divine name.
You're listening to AchieveRadio.com, the positive side of broadcasting.
Welcome to the second hour of Masterful Choices, where choice really matters. I'm Monique Chapman, your host. I converse with established and upcoming conscious leaders in the fields of human potential, intuition, spirituality, and metaphysics, providing empowering information for you to live a 5-star balanced life. When you were born, you came to Earth with everything you needed to make life a success. Together, let's discover your pathway to greater success. To find out more about me, upcoming show guests, the classes, consultations, energy work, and holistic healings that I provide, visit my website, MoniqueChapman.com. Now, I've been told by my clients that I keep it real while providing accurate information and profound, deep healings as they face the lessons they agreed to learn in this particular lifetime. So remember to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and connect with me on LinkedIn. My opt-in newsletter, Healing News, is available through my website, MoniqueChapman.com, or you can join from my Facebook page. I am taking your psychic questions tonight. All you have to do is give me a call at 602-666-6027. Again, that number is 602-666-6027. You can also watch me on Achieve TV. You can send me an InQuick via the InQuick message system, or you can send me a message via the chat room. So do like that. It's a nice option. So via the chat room would be nice. So to me, it's just me and you, however many of you there are this hour. And I'm going to talk about a few things that I had planned, and we'll see what else comes up that I don't have planned if I'm out of time. Okay. The first thing that I want to talk about is 9/11, and that's because the anniversary is coming right up tomorrow. And I think that everybody remembers where they were when 9/11 happened. I know that the August before my family, we had been back in New York, and we went to the World Trade Center, Central Park, the Battery Park, all of that around that general area. And I just kept saying to my family that the energy was crazy. The energy was crazy. I couldn't explain it outside of the fact that the energy was crazy. Well, lo and behold, 3 weeks later, we have 9/11, and it was, early in the morning for us in California, and my youngest son actually woke me up as he was getting ready for school, and he says, "Mom, your New York just fell down." And I'm like, "What?" And so I turned on the TV, and I saw what had happened. And, it was one of those times where America and the world were glued to the TV trying to figure out what happened. Okay, there's been many theories about what could have possibly happened, and conspiracy theories and all. But, I think that it's time that we heal the wounds and move forward. I'm not saying forget, so please don't send me hate mail about, Monique doesn't like 9/11, folks. It's not that at all. But let's heal and move forward. Honor the people and move forward. From a purely metaphysical standpoint, what those people went through in 9/11, they agreed to go through. Again, that's purely metaphysical. No other emotions or schools of thoughts, given into that situation for what I just said. So if, it's your thing to do, say prayers, meditate, send positive energy, do nothing at all, whatever your wish is. But I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that, tomorrow's the anniversary and we have the opportunity to, do something if we choose to do something. Okay, so happy 9/11 anniversary to everybody, I guess. That's the way to say it. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the season of fall, because this year, fall begins for us on September 22nd. And in many regions of North America, the landscape slightly explodes with vibrant colors of red, yellow, and orange. And the leaves begin to drop off the trees, providing endless hours of jumping into those pile of leaves for a kid. I remember doing that as a kid, right after I raked them and then had to rake them up again. The parents raking them back again, like my parents had to do, because we just destroyed everything. Baseball season hits the home stretch while the football season is just warming up, and temperatures begin to drop, nights begin to get longer, and all the woodland critters are storing up for the long haul of winter. And that is the sign of the autumnal equinox. Okay, the word equinox comes from the Latin words for equal night. The fall and spring equinoxes are the only days of the year in which the sun crosses the celestial equator. Equinoxes are believed to be equal parts, or equal hours, I should say, of day and night. But that's really not true. Okay. On any other day of the year besides the 2 days, the one day in September and the other day in March, the Earth's axis tilts a little way from or towards the sun. But on the equinoxes, the Earth axis tilts neither away or towards the sun. It's kind of like straight up. And that's, like something that doesn't happen all the time, but it's straight up. And when it's straight up on these 2 days, it appears that we have the balance of the 12 and 12. In actuality, the geometric center of the sun is above the horizon for 12 hours, and the other part of the sun is below the horizon. So what happens when the sun comes up, it is counted as soon as the sun appears above the horizon, that's when the sunrise happens, okay? But when the sun sets, it's not counted until the sun goes below the horizons. So therefore, we have differences in our time. So it's not necessarily 12 hours. Now, it could be 11 hours and some change, or it could be 12 and some change, but it's not exactly 12 and 12. Okay? Now, remember that the sun, changes with the sun and change in the season. This is a great time to let go of what is no longer serving you. Mother Earth has provided the trees, the grass, and everything else, and we kind of, say, oh, okay, well, we're going to have to water a little less, and then we'll go pick those beautiful red leaves or gold leaves or whatever. But they're dying, they're decaying, they're going through their cycle of life, just like we on a daily basis go through our cycle of life. And the fall time is the time to look at what is it that you're willing to let go of? What is it that you're willing to say, okay, well, I've had enough of this, and it's time to bring in something new. In order to bring in something new, you have to make room for it. It's important to let go. Okay. Now, this is also a great time when you get to learn about the balances of the energies, light energy and dark energy, because, we're more in balance, especially on the 22nd. We'll be in, pretty close to perfect balance. So as we're pretty close to perfect balance, it's important to acknowledge the light energies. What's light and bright and wonderful in our lives? And where's our shadow side? What is it within our our shadow side that we need to either work on, let go, accept, okay, because a lot of people have difficulty accepting the shadow. But what is it in our dark side that is important for us to accept? What do we need to work on? Because we're always a work in progress. Always a work in progress. So it's going to be important that we take a long look at ourselves and say, oh, okay, well, this is something that, it no longer serves me. It no longer serves me to get up at 6 a.m. and make dinner for the family so early. So I'm going to let that go. So take something in your life, analyze your life, pick something and be willing to release it so that you can bring in something positive. Okay? I found on a website, and it said that autumn reminds us of the impermanence of everything. We have experienced the budding of life in the spring and the flowerings and profusions of summer. Now the leaves of fall down and they leave bare branches. And this reminds us of the fleeting nature of all things. Okay, all things, not just some things, all things. So, be willing to follow the seasons and let things go. Just like it's important if you're following the moon cycles, because when you're following the moon cycles, you will have a better feel as what's going on in life. Okay. Now we just had a full moon on Monday, so today's the last day of writing your list. So what happens at the full moon? You write a list of what is important to you, what you want to create in your life, what it is that you want to bring in. Okay. And you make your list. You date it, the date that you make it. So today should be the day, which is the 10th of September. And you put your given name, first, middle, and last, whatever the name is on your birth certificate. If you changed it or whatever, or if someone named you something else, go with the name that you put on your birth certificate. Write down this or something better, and then take that piece of paper to your kitchen sink and light it on fire. Okay? Burn it up. Make sure that every piece that you've written on is burnt, okay? And then just, flush the ashes down the drain and let it go. You're going to write it claiming what it is that you want. And then you're going to release it to the universe so that the energies can start working. Very strong energy between the first 3 days of the full moon. And the full moon was Monday. Okay, so tonight's your last night to do that if you're so inclined. And you'd be amazed at what you can create during a full moon and using the full moon cycles. You'd be amazed at what you can create using the cycle of the seasons. It's always so important to pay attention. Okay. I've got a caller. Let's talk to Anita calling in from Michigan. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Monique.
Hi, how are you?
I'm trying to come out of depression.
Okay. Well, at least you know where you're at. And you know where you want to go, so that's good. It's just a matter of getting there, right?
Right. Everything that I thought I wanted, I feel like I've lost who I am and my direction.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you could give me any insight on that.
Okay. Okay, so you've lost who you are and you've lost your direction. You want insight on that? Is that what I'm understanding? Okay. So, Anita, what I want you to do, because you've been struggling a long time. I mean, unfortunately, the struggle is nothing new for you. I would love for it to be, okay? But unfortunately, the struggle is nothing new for you. And what I'd like for you to do is, again, work with the seasons and work with the moons to improve your life. So this is fall. What is it, Anita, that you need to let go of? You said you lost who you are. So what is it that you lost that needs to stay lost first of all? Is there anything that you can think of that you lost that should stay lost?
I don't know. There's a big conflict between me and my goals and then observing others around me and family and people in general. I think I'm looking all around me and not within me.
Okay, so the one thing that you want to lose then is the dependence upon people to approve of what you do?
Yes.
Okay, is that something that you're willing to let go today? And if it's not, it's not. I mean, it's your time frame.
Right.
So.
Right. And, yeah, and I don't know how to go about doing it. And then I'm also finding that I have a problem with putting my power out around authority people. I've lost trust somewhere along the line, and I'm not bringing myself forward.
Okay. Anita, what is it that you want in life? Forget finances and where you're at or anything like that. What is it that you want in life?
Happiness, home. I mean, I have these things, but I just don't feel like it's...
Okay, so if you have like happiness...
Yeah, happiness, a home, and what my gifts are to just be service in this world.
Okay, but you said you do have happiness and you do have a home. So are you happy, truly?
No, it doesn't feel like my home. It's my parents.
Okay, but I want to go back to the happiness first. Let's do the happy first. So,
yeah, I don't have...
happy.
Right. The happiness I feel I've lost.
Okay, so we all have a choice on happiness, and happiness is truly internal, is not external, and that's difficult for a lot of us, and I'm going to put myself in that, bucket too, okay? But our happiness truly comes internally from us. So when you're feeling low or feeling the opposite energy of happiness, what is it that you do to shift your energy back to a state where you're more balanced?
I usually try to get myself around people and find, I don't know, I used to go to the Y and do like an aqua science class because that was something that brought me joy, being around others, and also, seeing happiness and bringing also, since I was in an accident, that was something that I could do to help myself, gain strength.
Why can't you do that now?
I twisted my ankle after, as I had commented to you before, I had an accident 6 years, and I've been having problems with this right foot, but I just twisted my ankle, and it brought me all those memories back from the last 6 years, and I started to remember a lot of things, and it's...
Okay. And so with the remembering, and hear me on this, Anita, with the remembering, and yes, I'm cutting you off for a reason, with the remembering of what happened 6 years ago and it coming up again, this is an opportunity to let it go. Are you willing to release the pain, the anguish, and the anger that you had around situations 6 years ago? And that's a yes or a no.
No, it keeps on coming back up.
Okay, I didn't ask you. I said, are you willing to release? Yes or no? I didn't ask if it came back. I'm asking if you're willing to release.
I guess no, I'm not willing to release it. Okay, I don't know why.
Okay, and so I want you to think a moment about why. Could it be that the story, and I'm not diminishing what happened to you, okay, but could it be that the story, the energy of the story has entrapped itself so deeply within your psyche and in your aura that you're believing that life, in a sense, just began 6 years ago and this is your new lot in life? Yes or no?
Yeah, in a way, yes.
Okay.
I feel like maybe I need to write something about this. Because
why don't you?
Happened to me, it happened to others.
Why don't you? And you could write something that would help other people that are in your same position.
That's what I'm thinking. And when I start to, that's what I'm thinking that I want to do.
Okay. Well, if you wrote something about it, fabulous. You can write for yourself. You can write for friends. You can write for the general public. It doesn't really matter as long as you write it and get it out of you. Okay. So you're really going to be putting your emotions down on that piece of paper. And that's going to help you tremendously with releasing what's stuck, because you've been stuck for years. It's just not 6 months. Okay. So is that something that you're willing to do? Nancy,
yes,
yes
that's
or
what
no?
I was thinking. Okay, yes.
Okay, and you had a great big old butt there. What's the big old butt?
Unless I need to let it go.
It's important to let it go, but you're only going to let it go when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it keeps coming up because it wants attention. It wants to go away. Okay, it keeps coming up because it's going to release me. I'm here. I don't want to be here anymore. Let me go. But every now and then you go back to the quote-unquote comfort of what happened to you 6 years ago. And it was by no means comfortable at the time, okay? But you've gotten comfortable in that energy. And now to make a drastic change is frightening because you don't know if your health is going to hold up. You don't know if mentally you're going to hold up. You don't know physically if you're going to hold up, okay? So you've got a lot of fears around making another change, making another move, if you will, okay? And it's going to be important that you let go of whatever anybody's telling you, and no matter where you live. Now, are your parents still on this side? You said you're living in their home?
Right, yes.
So your parents are still alive?
They're still alive, yes.
Okay, and how are they still controlling you?
I'm kind of dependent. I wouldn't be able to take care of a household on my own.
Okay.
And we also have a place in Arizona, and I wouldn't be able to do it there either.
Okay.
And so I need to put some ducks in a row on and look seriously at. And that's what's depressing me.
Okay. Well, you got to get ducks in a row. And when I look at all the ducks you got to get in a row, it's like, oh, my goodness. It's a lot of ducks. So I want you to pick one duck, and I want you to declare it publicly on the air, one duck that you want to get in your rows, so to speak, between now, which is December 10th, and the end of the month. Just one. And I'm going to explain to you why just one. So what one would that be? Just one.
I'm going to pick the hardest one, and that's financial. What I need to keep on payments and what I need to let go of certain payments.
Okay. So it's hard for you to let go of certain payments. That's what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. What payments do you need to let go of? Are they all yours?
Yeah, it's an old phone I was hanging on to. I was thinking of getting the iPad and switching it to that phone number, and it's something I keep on paying the bill, and it's like I could have saved that money for something else.
Okay, so is that one thing that you can do between now and the end of the month?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to make that your only thing that you have to let go of or switch or fix between now and the end of the month. Because, Anita, when you're looking at your whole situation, you're becoming overwhelmed. Okay? You're becoming overwhelmed because so much needs to be done. And it's frightening, and I don't blame you for feeling a bit frightened around it. But if you make the masterful choice, which you have just did by declaring what it is that you want to do, the next step is minuscule conversions, and that is taking a small step toward it each time. So you've made the overall decision. You've made the masterful choice. Now it comes down to the minuscule conversion. So do you want to call the phone company? Is that what your next step is, or what? What's your next step?
Well, actually, in reality, I wanted to, I guess I wanted to switch it to something else that would be more, I need a new computer, so I would be switching it to something that would make a payment on putting the money towards something that I need.
Okay. So when did,
somehow
what's the,
Yeah, so I guess I would have to make, I would have to find, I would have to research and find where I'm going to apply that money towards, maybe with something with them.
Okay, so can you have the research done by this time next week? Just the research, nothing else.
Yeah, I could do that.
Can you write that down?
Yeah, I'm writing this all down.
Okay. So by the end of next week, you're going to have the research done. And then within the next week, I want you to actually pick up the phone and call people and talk to them about what needs to be done. Okay?
Okay.
And then,
right, I guess.
Go ahead.
While we're talking, I guess my biggest fear is coming up on maybe something I needed to do before this.
Such as?
And it's health care. They want me to go to physical therapy. And I just went there today to...
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah. What does physical therapy have to do with what we just talked about? How are the two joined together? Huh?
They're not. Hold
on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. We'll get there. Okay, so if it's not enjoined with what you're looking to do, let's go back to the first thing that you talked about, and let's work through that and get that off your plate. Okay? Because automatically you said, okay, I want to do this one thing, and then you jump to physical therapy. Nothing to do with it, okay? So you're stretching yourself too thin. Right. So you give yourself a week to get this first step done. Now, you need to go back to physical therapy, or you need to stop physical therapy?
I have to go back because I twisted my ankle and I found a fracture.
Okay. And then when can you go back to physical therapy?
I went there today, and it wouldn't be till September 22nd I'd start.
And
then...
That's a good thing, right?
And I need to get my ducks in a row to get back to Arizona. And so I'm...
Okay, but you still have a few things that you need to do, okay? So the first thing first that you talked about with the phone type thing, let's get that done, okay? The second thing that you talked about is the physical therapy. You're doing that, and the physical therapist is going to keep you on a schedule. So as long as you're staying on that schedule, you're going to be okay. But you got to stay on the schedule. Does that sound like it makes sense to you at all, or no?
Yes, it does.
Is it too much for you to handle? Yes or no?
No, I just go in fear.
Well, fear is a natural reaction. More. And what's the fear around the phone, handling the phone issue? What's the fear around that? Thank you. What's going to happen? What's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? I
think it's hard for me to make changes.
Okay. But you do recognize that something needs to adjust, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the one thing that you're going to do is start with the phone thing. The second thing that you're doing is using the physical therapy to get yourself stronger, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so those two things right now are more than enough for you to work on because you are so out of your body right now until it's really difficult for you to, kind of grab everything and put it together. So if you're not meditating, I would like for you to meditate. And for you, expressly with what's going on with yourself, Anita, the Om, that would be a great meditation for you, just to sit and just 5 minutes. Set a timer, 5 minutes, and do Om for 5 minutes and get up. What that's going to do is clear out your physical space of yucky energy that has come into your physical space. It's going to clear your auric field out so that you feel free again, you feel light again, okay? And it's going to ground you so that more of you will come back into your body so that you feel good about the decisions that you make. Okay. But you're trying to do too many things at once, and it's kind of been that way for years. Forget about, oh my goodness, I'm in my parents' home and da-da-da. You got a roof over your head, be grateful. Okay? If your parents' home is not where you want to be, and you want your own place, but you've got some issues around that, get the medical assistance from the physical therapist or anyone else that can assist you. And with that help, tell them, this is my plan. By next year, this time, I want to be on my own. I want to live in whatever or wherever, and allow them to assist you to get there. Because you take on so much by yourself, and it's really difficult from time to time. But it's really going to be important for you to allow yourself the help, if that makes sense to you, because I see you, being strong and stoic, and you want to do it yourself, and that's kind of good. But at the same token, no man is an island, and you're doing too much on your own.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so if you can just go ahead. So
yeah, the place I'm going, before I had a therapist or physiatrist who ordered occupational help and speech and therapy, and they have everything there, but they, my mom wrote a letter and said she had power of attorney and canceled it, and I think I needed that in the past, that point in time. So you're right. I could either do that here in Michigan, or I could maybe follow through somewhere in Arizona, because I don't know if I can handle another winter. So you're right. I need help. I need some.
Okay.
I need to allow myself to help by people, and that's where the fear comes in from trust.
Okay, so the physical therapist that you're seeing now, is this the physical therapist that was in contact with your mom?
It's the same place, but they do have that there. I just don't know if it's better for me to do that stuff here, since my family's all here and kind of known in town, or unbiased in another state.
Well, I'm getting twofold, and what I'm getting is important for you to get the therapy done as soon as possible so that when you are on your own, you're able to take care of yourself. I'm feeling great resistance from you to make the changes that need to be made. You want them. I mean, consciously you want them. Subconsciously you're like, oh, shoot. Oh, shit, I'm scared, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being afraid, but, take where you're at right now and start making some changes, and that will help you get to Arizona or any place else that you want to be all the quicker. Okay. One step at a time. You're trying to take 25 steps at a time. And if you're standing at the bottom of a staircase and you're looking up those 25 steps, you're like, oh, geez, how am I going to jump that all at once, right? But if you take one step at a time and maybe walk 3 steps, and then you stop and you take a week's rest because you can't go any further right now, then you move on. and you take that week's rest, and then you get up and you move on to the next step or the next 2 or 3 steps. Okay, you know that you want to be in Arizona, which is great. So you've got the end goal. You need help with getting there. I would also talk to the physical therapist and see if there's a social worker that they can connect you with that will help you with not funds necessarily, but they will help you get to where it is you want to go. If you want to go to Arizona, well, this program will supply you money for this. You can get housing here. You can do this. You can do that. You can do the other, so that you're actually doing something about going back to Arizona. Okay, and that also could be done very quickly, where you don't have to spend another winter in Michigan. But it's about, Anita, and this is going to be hard to hear, but I'm going to say it because you know I say it. Call it as I see it. You got to take your head out of your hiney and move forward. Okay?
All right.
And you can do this.
Okay.
You can do this. So the 2 things that I asked you about, are you willing to do that this week? Continue the therapy, and the other was?
Make the financial change with the phone.
Exactly. And you'll go, phew, I got something done. Yes, I can do this. And it's going to empower you so that you move ahead at a quicker speed.
Okay.
Okay. I know it's not all what you want to hear, and yes, change is very hard. Okay. Very, very hard. But I'm seeing it's something that you can do, and you can have happiness in your life. I mean, you've had so many years of unhappiness. You can have happiness, but it's about changing your energy. And that Om meditation will help you with shifting your frequency so that you attract to you better things than what you're attracting right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you can do that. So I want you to call me back next week and let me know what you accomplished.
Okay, thank you, Monique. I appreciate your time and your help.
Okay, no problem. So I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, God bless.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, you know, Anita was so brave to call in and share what she shared, because there's so many people that are so overwhelmed that they just don't know what to do first. They know where they want to go. They know where they're at. They know they don't want where they're at. They know that they want to make a change, but they get overwhelmed, and that's why, you know, you talk to people. Okay, and that's why you make sure that you talk to people who aren't going to judge you, who are just going to give you some information, and then you can do one of 2 things. You can take that information and run with it, or you can let it go. Choice being yours. Okay? So when you're stuck like that, you know, talk to a friend, talk to a professional, and, you know, call somebody that's going to help you, truly help you, who won't judge you. And Anita, I'm looking forward to finding out how your week went. Okay? Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about briefly is the drought that's going on here in California. Oh, my goodness. If I could turn my camera and put it outside, you'd see a nice brown grass. Our saying out here, or at least in Northern California, is brown is the new green. I went to Southern California with my son. He treated me to an escape last weekend, and he drove to LA, because I love to I love to have road trips and be in the car. And he actually drove to LA and treated his mom to a very nice weekend, which I am so appreciative of. But the one thing that I noticed, Southern California is not doing brown as a new green. Everything is green and lush and wasting water. And the irony of all of this is that Northern California sends water to Southern California. So as we are conserving up here and, you know, holding on to every little bit, Southern California is just letting it go. And I don't think that's fair. So I think that the water authorities out here statewide need to all be on the same page and help us get through this drought. I mean, the earth is so dry and it's so parched. It's hard for things to even grow. Okay, even with the little water that you do give them. But the one thing, if you're in a drought state, no matter where you're at, buy water. Buy water in bulk, stock it, you know, empty out your shed, empty out your storage. It's going to be more refreshing to have a storage full of water than it is going to be to have a storage full of stuff that you can't use and you don't have any water. And so, you know, think about what you're going to do to help yourself and your family during the drought. I did a little bit of research online, and I found out that currently, this year, right now, 71 countries around the world are experiencing a drought. 71. That's a lot of countries. Okay. Now, here in the West, we're doing the drought. Texas has been in a drought forever. So it's going to be important to our country as a whole to start saving its water, start saving the resources. As we were driving down to LA, we went through the Central Valley, and growers were complaining. They had signs out: "We need water, we need water, we need water." And without water, the crops don't grow. Without water, the livestock doesn't get fed, whatever type of livestock it is, and all of that endangers our food supply. So it's really going to be important that we start paying attention. Okay, all of us, no matter where we live, even if you're not affected by the drought right now and you're affected by major floods, we're all going to have to pay attention. I truly wish they could find some way to capture that flood water and ship it to the farmers so that they would have water to water the crops, and then that way maybe there would be a little bit of relief. Maybe the powers that be will come up with something, maybe not. But it's going to be important to pay attention. Drought is serious business, folks, and it's going to affect all of us. Just like the floods are affecting all of us, the drought is going to affect all of us. Okay, so do your part. Whatever your part is, whatever you feel you want your part to be, do your part. Let's save the world. Okay, everybody wants to know, how can you make the world a better place? Save yourself. Okay, and save the world, save the water. Okay, it's really going to make a big difference. Okay, and so that's my rant on water, and now here's my rant on relationships. This past week, Ray Rice has been in the news. He was a football player. Was the operative word for now. And they showed a video of him and his girlfriend at the time, or fiance, I should say, at the time. They were in an elevator. They had some type of altercation. When the elevator doors opened, you saw Ray dragging the woman out. Okay, I mean literally dragging her out. One shoe was missing. And they have since suspended Ray from playing, and the team cut him. So, he's paid a consequence to a degree. Okay. His now wife has gone on the news and said, why is everybody punishing us? It was a private matter. It's settled between us, and, to let it go. If anybody, man or woman, whomever the abuser is, if they will strike someone in a public place, and what I mean by public place is someplace outside of your physical home, that is not the first time that they've hit you or strangled you or choked you or slapped you or whatever, and it won't be the last. Okay? It's really going to be important for us to focus on ourselves and not take abuse in any form anymore. People stay in abusive situations for various reasons, okay? And, you can't tell a person when to leave. You just can't, because it's not going to work for them. Like Anita, who called earlier, who's not in an abusive situation, but I couldn't tell her, Anita, get up and move next week, because it's not going to work for her. She wants to, but it's not going to work. Same with an abusive person, an abused person in a relationship. You can't tell them when to go, because they justify staying in many ways, and some of them, it's very important that they stay for a while until they figure out how they can escape the situation. I always, get the question, well, why did she stay? Why do people stay in abusive situations? But I really feel that the focus should be on, why does the abuser do what they do? Okay, why did Ray hit her? And not because they were having an argument. What's the background of all of this? What's the underpinnings of all of this as to why he felt it was perfectly okay to strike a woman in public or private? And, what's he going to do to shift that energy? Okay? Because when you are in an abusive situation, okay, the abuser is the control freak. The abuser is the one who's in fear. The abuser. The abusee is taking it and hopefully making, plans to go elsewhere. But the abuser is the one with the problem. So if you're in an abusive situation, I want you to consider picking up the phone and calling the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Again, that's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And their number is 888-799-7233. Again, 800, and I said 888, so that's wrong. The hotline number is 800-799-7233, 800-799-7233. The website is www.thehotline.org, www.thehotline.org, okay? And then once you are connected there, you can share with them. Things are confidential, and they can help you determine what your next steps are, even if it's to stay. Now, I want to share with you 15 warning signs of abuse, and some of these actually surprised me because I was like, that's happened in my life maybe more than once, and I didn't realize that it was abuse. So here we go. The first warning sign of abuse is someone telling you that you can never do anything right, okay? And that's even if it's a parent telling you you can't do anything right. That's abuse. The second is showing jealousy of your friends and time spent away from home, okay, or away from them. The third warning sign is keeping you or discouraging you from seeing friends or family members. And you think about it. When was the last time that happened to you? Or you've seen someone or know someone that has happened to? Okay. The fourth is embarrassing or shaming you with put-downs. Oh, you'll never amount to anything. Oh, you're so fat, you'll never lose weight. Whatever it is, don't accept it. That's abuse. Number 5 is controlling every penny spent in the household, or where you get to the point, ladies, where you have to hide money, or men too, because some women are very abusive, where you have to hide money in order to, have some of the necessaries of life. The next is taking your money or refusing you to give you money for your expenses. Okay, looking at you or acting in ways that scare you. Controlling who you see, where you go, or what you do. Preventing you from making your own decisions. Telling you that you are a bad parent or threatening to harm or take your children away. Preventing you from working or attending school. Destroying your property or threatening to hurt or kill your pets. Intimidating you with guns, knives, or other weapons. Pressuring you to having sex when you don't want to, or to do things sexually that you're not comfortable with. Pressuring you to use drugs or alcohol, or sometimes, especially women will self-medicate just to kind of blank out of the situation. Not a good, healthy idea. Now, abuse just doesn't come from heterosexual relationships. It also comes in LGBTQ relationships. I'm not quite sure what the Q is, but abusive situations also happen in those relationships, and in a sense they can be even more damaging because some people go into a gay relationship to escape the quote-unquote stereotypes of a traditional relationship, thinking that it's going to be better when it can be so much worse. Now, if you're in any type of gay relationship LGBTQ relationship, and you're having difficulties, you're being abused, I want you to contact the people on this website, and that's www.dayoneny.org, www.dayoneny.org. They're especially equipped to help people that are in domestic abuse situations, and they are not from the heterosexual background, okay? No one deserves to be abused. No one. I don't care where you come from, what you're doing. No one deserves to be abused, okay? Now, it is important to understand that people commit domestic violence because they choose to do so, not because they can't stop themselves. Abusing anyone is a choice, okay? Abusing anyone is a choice. And, I don't want to be on the other end of that choice, and I don't want anyone within the sound of my voice to be on the other end of that choice, because it's very important that we help each other, that we take care of each other, that we don't allow ourselves to be caught in situations where people are just insidiously eroding at our self-esteem. Because when you're in an abusive relationship, that's what happens. They're just taking your self-esteem away bit by bit, inch by inch, and then it gets down to the point where, why do anything? Why stay? I can't fix it, so why do anything? And trust me, that is truly not the best relationship to have. Now, I'm going to give you 8 steps to maintaining a good relationship. And the first one is to be aware of what you and your partner want for yourselves and what you want from the relationship. Very key. Second, let one another know what your needs are. How many times, has someone done something to you and you don't like it, but you never told them that you don't like it? Realize that your partner will not be able to meet all of your needs, and that some of these needs will have to be met outside the relationship. It always frightens me when I hear people talk about relationships and they spend 24 hours a day together, 365 days a year. Somebody is not being themselves in that relationship, okay? Be willing to negotiate and compromise on the things that you want from one another. Number 5 is do not demand that a partner change to meet all of your expectations. Work to accept the differences between your ideal mate and the real person that you're dating. 6, try to see things from the other person's point of view. Now, this doesn't mean that you must agree with one another all the time, but rather that both of you can understand and respect each other's differences, points of view, and separate needs. Okay? And 7 is where critical difference do exist in your expectations, needs, or opinions, try to work honestly and sincerely to negotiate. Seek professional help early rather than waiting until the situation becomes critical. And number 8, do your best to treat your partner in ways that say, I love you and trust you, and I want to work this out. Okay, so many people, they enter into relationships because he or she is cute, or, there's a strong sexual chemistry, and they don't really delve into who the person truly is. And it's going to be important that you delve into who the person truly is, especially if you're looking for a long-term, lifetime commitment from that person, okay? It's going to be very important. And I know my audience can do it, so, you take your time and you do it. Well, that is our time. The hour has gone so quickly, and I do appreciate your time and attention. Again, I am honored and grateful that you tune in and listen to me. When you're ready to shift the energy in your life to the master level, give me a call at 888-240-6057, or you can email me at Monique@MoniqueChapman.com. Love yourself enough to make an investment in yourself. And I want you to remember that the most important choice that you make is what you choose to make important. Abundant blessings, light and love to all. Namaste.